Predicting whether a video game is about to go up or down in price can be a very tricky thing, and in most cases you're not going to know whether a game is about to spike or about to take a dip. There are plenty of video games that I've predicted in the past that are going to shoot through the ceiling, and then they have done, but not too long after they've fallen right back through and now they're in the basement. Perky Little Things is a perfect example of this. I picked that game up for about £20 in CEX. It just kept going and going. It went all the way up to about £40 in the end. Now it's back down to about 25, 29-ish. And I have a fair few other games in my collection that I've predicted to go up, and they have done in fairness, but then they've just come straight back down again. The Walking Dead Telltale collection is another prime example of that. I bought that around 25, it went up to 35 quite quickly, and I didn't think that there was going to be an end to it because of course Telltale no longer exists. The Walking Dead had just finished, but somehow, some reason, the game dropped back down, and I think you can now buy it for 25 again, maybe even less. A big way of knowing if a game is about to spike in price is if a streamer or content creator has picked it up. This isn't an example of a game spiking in price necessarily, in fact I think it went on sale shortly after, but this is an example of a game spiking in popularity. It's only available, well I say that, it's not, it's available on console as well actually. It's pretty shit on console though, right? Yeah. One example of this happening off the top of my head is Rust, but it had, like I mentioned, a moderate following. It wasn't like in the public eye, it wasn't a AAA game, not everyone was playing it, it didn't have a console release. Then all of a sudden, it gets a console release, they polish it a bit more, and a couple of big content creators pick it up, to the point where it gets very popular. And then the console version of this game goes up to about 30-35. It stays there for a very long time, and there are more users playing the game in general on PC and on console than ever before. It was a dream come true for Facepunch, who created the game, and that's exactly what you want when you're creating a game. Obviously you want a big content creator to pick it up. That's the best way of marketing it these days. Providing your game is good and you don't have to try and pay them off to say good things about it, generally speaking your game will gather traction and sell more copies that way. But that's by the by, and that's for a different video that I'll probably never make because I don't know enough about it. But my point is, this game went up to 35 and it stayed there for a while until it eventually dropped to about 25, and I think it's in and around that now, if I'm honest. And indeed it is. It's 25 on both PlayStation and Xbox, which is phenomenal when you consider how long this game has been out. I mean, on PC it's been out for 10 years. On console, May of 2021, which may not sound that long ago, but it is over 2 years and the game is still £25. And for a game to be £25 on Xbox is actually very impressive. How it's never been released on Game Pass, I don't know. And how I know it hasn't been released on Game Pass without even looking is that it's £25. And a game that comes out on Game Pass, well, I think you see where I'm going with this. That is another very good way of telling whether a video game is about to dip in price on said platform or potentially rise in price. Let's talk about the dip first. So if Microsoft announced that X, Y and Z are about to, why do I say Z, why not Z, are about to come to the platform, which is Game Pass of course, you know that that game on the Xbox side of things at least is about to take a bit of a dip. And if you know me and you've been watching the channel for more than a week, you'll know what game I'm about to mention. Need for Speed Unbound is the perfect example of this. This game was, I don't know how much it is now, in fact let me check. This game was £10 on the Xbox, it's now 12. It was 25 or 30 on the PS5, it's now around 25. But the point there is that this game is half the price on the Xbox. Why? Because it's on Game Pass. This is absolutely no surprise to anyone whatsoever, right? Games that are available on Game Pass, which is the primary source of people who own an Xbox to play video games, is obviously going to be cheaper physically, because why do you need the physical copy when you have Game Pass? You can just load it up and delete it and re-download it whenever you want. That's the beauty of Game Pass. Whereas PlayStation users, yes, there is a PlayStation service, but it's trash and no one cares. That's why the physical games are, in this case at least, double the price. And that's why we see a massive discrepancy in these prices. But not only that, you know full well when a game is about to enter Game Pass, when it's about to be added to that service, the physical version of this game is about to take a hit in value. So I don't, maybe I do know, because could look it up, right? When a game is set to come to Game Pass, so Microsoft come out and say, look, this is a game we're going to add to the service this month, you know that the physical release is about to take a big hit in value. Now, I'm just looking at the list of games announced to come to Game Pass in January, and yeah, nothing really. I mean, there are two, Turnip Boy Robs a Bank and Go Mecha Ball, which is something. You get Persona 3 Reload in February, as well as a game called Plate Up and Open Roads, which sounds interesting, but none of these, to my knowledge anyway, have physical releases. So in this instance, as annoying as it is, because I'd love to have an example to show, we can't really say, well, that game is about to take a hit, but there are plenty of games, I'm sure, that will arrive on Game Pass that have physical releases that are about to take a hit in value. Now, of course, the difference between a game that is about to enter Game Pass or leave Game Pass is not the same as something like Need for Speed Unbound, which would have been there day one and which will always be there because it's an EA title, and EA Play is linked with Game Pass. So the one piece of advice I can give you, of course, is if you don't have Game Pass for some reason, but you do have an Xbox, buying EA titles is quite simple. Wait. I'm not sure how long you'll have to wait, but if you can hold off just a couple of weeks, the physical version of that game will plummet in price. Need for Speed Unbound dropped to £10 and it hadn't been out that long. Dead Space went down to 20, brand new in Asda, and again, it hadn't been out that long. It had been out a little while, but not too long, and there are plenty of other examples of this as well. Something that I haven't really mentioned, of course, is games that are about to leave Game Pass. Now, there isn't an actual list of, hey, this game is leaving on the 25th or whatever, like Netflix do when they have that little tab that says leaving soon, kind of encouraging you to watch it now before you can't watch it anymore. And they'll even give you a date as to when that film will leave the platform. Well, Microsoft, to my knowledge anyway, don't do that, but we can see that there is a bit of a pattern. So if the game has been on the platform for 12 months, there is a very good chance that it will leave in 12 months. So as an example, Monster Hunter Rise was added in January of this year, which means January of 2024 could be the time that it disappears. It's the same with Persona 4 and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Stranded Deep, and there are a couple of others on that list as well. Now, I don't believe any of them have physical releases on the Xbox. Persona 4 Golden came out on the PS Vita and is actually available for £25 in CEX. Didn't have a physical release on either the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox, but it is on Game Pass, but not for much longer by the looks of things. But that's by the by, because I'm guessing you can still buy it digitally, so it's not necessarily a game that is going to like all of a sudden spike on the PS Vita, for example, although it might, but it is £25 anyway, so is that going to be more expensive or cheaper than the digital version? Not quite sure. But one game I do know that is about to leave, or at least has the potential to leave the Game Pass service, is Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5 right now is only £4 physically in CEX, and it's a little bit more expensive on the PS4. Why is that? Well, I'm guessing it's because it's available on Game Pass, although I might be wrong. Does that mean we should all run out and buy Far Cry 5 on the Xbox One because it's about to go through the roof? No, probably not. It might go up £1 or £2 for those who don't have time to get the game, want to play the game. I have seen a few people on the website that I'm on right now, True Achievements, mention in the comment section of this page that they want to play Far Cry 5, but they won't have time to get to it now, so they'll either have to wait for it to come back or they'll have to buy it elsewhere. Another game leaving is Watch Dogs 2. There's MotoGP 22, which is actually a game that has a little bit of value on other platforms. This game is currently £20 on the PS4. It's £18 on the PS5, but it's only £8 on the Xbox One, and that's the beauty of collecting physically, at least on the Xbox One. You can have a really nice big collection, and it will cost you half the price of what the PlayStation side of things will cost. The downside of that, of course, is if you collect with half an eye on the value of things and you want these things to appreciate over time, chances are it's going to take a lot longer, if at all, because of course Game Pass exists. Whereas the PlayStation side of things, these games are pricier now, but they will be even pricier in the future because there's no Game Pass equivalent on the PlayStation. Kind of, but not really. But another beautiful thing about this is this game right now is £9 on eBay, brand new and sealed with free delivery. I mean, that is fantastic, right? And this is a game that may potentially be leaving Game Pass in the next 18 months or so, according to trueachievements.com anyway. So if you've ever considered buying MotoGP 22, now would be a perfect opportunity to put £9 aside and pick one up. Especially if you can get it sealed and you don't plan on playing it anytime soon, or if you are a sealed collector, for example. The biggest one that I have to tell you about, and it should be on the thumbnail to be honest, but I don't think I could bring myself to do it. My friend Peppa Pig is leaving, apparently, in 18 months. The interesting thing about this though, and you don't see this very often, and this is more of a serious note, my friend Peppa Pig on the PlayStation 4 is only £8, whereas it's £12 on the Xbox. You never really see it that way around, especially for games that are on Game Pass, like My Friend Peppa Pig. Maybe we've already seen the spike. I doubt it, to be honest. I think there's definitely an anomaly there somewhere. I don't really know what it is, but it's there. Should we all rush out and buy Peppa Pig? No, I think you're probably fine, but you know, it's something worth considering. And there are plenty of other games I could mention here, but the biggest one that I can really think of that apparently will leave soon, although it isn't listed on the True Achievements website, is GTA 5. Now this game is available on every single platform, including most Breville toasters. However, there is a very small chance this game could see a spike. See, the PlayStation 5 version of this game is still £30. That is crazy to think that it's still 30 quid on the PS5, despite the fact that it came out 10 years ago. Now, I know it didn't come out on the PS5 10 years ago, but you get the idea. The Xbox Series X version of this game is only £18. It's still a lot of money to pay for a game that you've probably bought 20 times already. Scratch that, you don't want to go anywhere near CEX. £18 for a second-hand copy? Pfft, you can keep it. We're going to Amazon. It is $14.95, brand new and sealed. Don't know what that was, but it is brand new and sealed on Amazon for 15 quid, which is obviously a much better deal, and it's half the price of the PlayStation 5 version, which I actually can't believe what I'm seeing. This is, I mean, the price difference here is absolutely mental. And if, oh God, I wish CEX had a much better system than, hey, do you want to sell? Well, click this button. We're going to send you to a completely different website. You've got to type in what you want again, and then we'll show you the trade price. Anyway, do you want a free £3 credit for CEX? Listen up. Go to Amazon and buy GTA 5 on the PlayStation 5 for $16.95. It will arrive the very next day, brand new and sealed. You then stroll into CEX, slap it on the counter, and they'll give you £20 in credit, which is £3 more than you paid. They will then take it, unwrap it, take the guts out of it, put the disc in a sleeve, scratching it in the process, and then slap a sticker on the cover of GTA 5 saying £30, and some innocent bystander will walk in not knowing they can get it for nearly half the price on Amazon and pay £30 for this game that has been out for 10 years. Joking aside, I do actually really like CEX, but that is an unbelievable price difference. That is over £13 difference between the CEX price and the Amazon price, which is amazing in itself. The other amazing thing about that is that this game isn't even on sale. I was expecting to see limited time deals slapped next to it or something, you know, like a sort of Boxing Day kind of thing. It's just $16.95. That's just the price of it. I've done many a video in the past complaining about CEX and moaning about this and moaning about that and how they should change this, they should change that, but I've never been more inclined to make a video than I have been after reading that one price, and I started scrolling down and having a look at other PlayStation 5 games, and Amazon right now they've got their prices down. I mean, everything is affordable. And if you compare nearly every game, okay, maybe not every game, but if you compare a lot of games from Amazon to CEX, you'll find that Amazon are very competitive, if not beat CEX, just straight up outright. And I know you can argue that, well, you can trade them into CEX and you can get your money off and whatever, and that's fine. But these games on Amazon are far cheaper. And they are new, and they are sealed, and you know that no one's ever touched them before. All the DLC is still intact. If you're a physical collector, you would much rather be given something brand new and sealed than you would secondhand with things missing, fingerprints, little rips, dents, and all the rest of it that goes alongside buying a secondhand copy of something. This video was never intended to be a CEX versus Amazon job, but it kind of turned into that, didn't it? I do apologise. But my point being for the whole thing really is there are plenty of ways to know if a game is about to drop in price or about to go up in price, and they may not be foolproof scientific methods, but if you all of a sudden start seeing a big streamer streaming a game that has been out for a little while, you know that that game is about to go up in price. If you have one and you want to sell it, you can sell it in the hype. Once the hype dies down, you can buy it back again. Equally, if a game is about to be added to Game Pass, you know you can sell it while the price is still there. Once it's added to Game Pass, it will plummet and then you can buy it. EA games, for example, just hold off if you're not desperate for day one and you don't have Game Pass. You can buy it physically a couple of weeks after launch at a fraction of the price. Just some very small tips to take into consideration when buying and selling video games. I don't really expect everyone to have their finger on the pulse with everything. So you're looking at your collection and then you go and see whether this streamer is playing it, that streamer is playing it. Is this on Game Pass? Is that going to be added? Is this going to be taken away? What game can I sell and buy back again? I don't expect people to be doing that for every single game, but if you do see a game you think, hey, I own that, maybe I could sell it now. I'm not really into playing it this second and I could get my maximum bang for buck for this and then I'll buy it back at a later date. I can use this money to go and get this game that I really want. It's definitely something to consider. Incidentally, I do really like CEX. It's just every now and again I see something that just rubs me up the wrong way. But if you do want to see another video where I do probably slag them off, despite the fact that I really like them, you can click here. And until the next time, goodbye.